Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us during this little dry spell, if you will. We kind of had some difficulties that we were dealing with, I was dealing with, and I think we're on our way to chooching back to full steam. We're going to be a little different than what we were, not in a bad way or anything. You're still going to learn some things, and I hope you're here for the education because that's what I'm here for. Okay, so after a little dry spot, what we're going to do is we're going to revisit an old build. You remember the SIG Fourstar 40 that we built, donated by Rod Mustard out of Helena? Well, the deal was behind that, I would do the build and Ryan, my son, would do the control setup. And something had happened, I think it was last summer, to where he was gun shy of the airplane. See, I've got two Fourstar 60s. And I was having him fly it just in a handoff configuration. I'd take off and hand it over and he'd fly it. And we thought we would shoot for a landing. And what had happened is it got away from him, got out of control and crashed it. It was beyond rebuildable. And to me, no big deal. I'm not worried about it. Airplanes will crash. You know they're going to expire. You just don't know when. And he took that a little personally. And I told him not to worry about it. And you're going to fly again. You're going to fly one again. No, I'm not, Dad. No, I'm not, Dad. I was like, Bud, you got to finish that Fourstar 40. We're going to do the control setups on it. You know, all the servos and all the linkages and stuff like that. We're going to do it old school. That way it gives me an opportunity to teach him and you as well, because I don't do control setup videos for the simple fact that there's 1,000 different ways to do it, and everybody wants the easiest, which is program it out. That's not how I do it. I do it old school, cranking clevises, adjusting throw horns, different things like that. Because if you set it up right, it'll fly right, and it leaves some room so you can do some programming and do little tweaks here and there to help your airplane fly better. But that'll be later on down the road. So this last time I've got another Fourstar 60 that we have been flying. Actually, Ryan and I went in and recovered it last New Year's Eve, and the following day we finished it up. Made it easier to see because it was all red. It started out flying it this year, and he soloed his Avastar. He's flying that thing like a Learjet. He's out flying me, which, well, that's not really saying a whole lot, but he's doing very well. And he'd fly the Avastar, I'd fly the Fourstar. Hey buddy, why don't you come fly this? Nope, wouldn't do it. And finally, the last fun fly we went to was a swap meet, and I had the Fourstar out there. And I told him, I said, son, I'd sure like it if you flew this Fourstar. You'd figure out it's actually a little bit easier to fly than an Avastar, because the Avastar is set up like a hot rod. It moves, it scoots, it can get away from you if you're not careful. Oh, all right, finally he gave in. And he says, but I'm going to take it off. I was like, you bet, buddy, you got it. I have confidence in his ability to fly. And we got out there, fired it up, and he was gone. You know, I mean, he flew the piss out of it, and he was doing touch and goes, and really got over his fear of that airplane. And I get it. You have a bad experience with an airplane, you want to walk away from it and never touch it again. So now that we're over that, we climbed that hill, I saw this opportunity to come back and revisit the Fourstar 40 build. That way he can finish it up and do the control setups. We'll do it all together. And also, you know, in my last video I posted, I wanted the opportunity to teach how to do some work with some fabric, SIG coverall, and using dope from aircraft spruce and that route. So I figured this would be an opportunity to go after this airplane like we just got our favorite ARF, and we want to give it a really cool paint job. We want to cover it in fabric, and we're going to do that with this Fourstar 40 build. We'll strip it down. Actually, I've already got the fuselage stripped down. And the reason why, you know, it's a brand new airplane. You covered it with Solar Tex, and what's happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. I shot the paint in a less than favorable condition. It was really cold outside, and the paint orange peeled real bad. It separated. It didn't stick to the fabric properly, and it didn't really work out that well. So this is an opportunity to come back and repair that and make it a very beautiful airplane. Now, if you resort back to the last video I posted, I went over the materials that we are going to need to do this. I'm not going to go over that again because that's, like I say, that's a supply video. This is a method video and an introduction to our next series of what we're going to do. You strip your airplane down. As you strip your airplane down, or let's say you're doing a new build, that's fine. Use your heat gun, peeling and covering off, because you want that adhesive that's on your plastic film to come with it, okay? Because there's something about that adhesive that butyrate does not like. It will not stick to that part. Believe me, I found out the hard way. You're going to wipe your airframe down with acetone. Clean it just as clean as you can be. Okay, now that part's done, take this opportunity to go back while you got bare bones, do any kind of repairs that you may need, sand down some rough spots, make some things smoother, and get it ready to cover. Now your preparation will be just like you're getting ready to cover with film. I mean, there's nothing that changes up until we get ready to cover, because there's a lot more processes involved, some curing time that's involved, and you're going to have patience. But I can promise you this as a first-hand witness, and I've got 2 airplanes out there right now covered in coverall and dope, and they're just beautiful, just gorgeous, and you're going to have a stronger airplane in the end. So what I've done, I've already stripped down the fuselage to the Fourstar 40. We're back to bare bones, back to the covering stages, in which I think I skipped that in the build video, but this is our fuselage. We got our 61 up front there. I need to get a brush a hold of and clean it up. We're back down to our bare bones. Okay, now it's been a couple years since I've covered this, so I'm going to use this opportunity to go over the airplane and may fix some flaws that I might have missed. I don't really see anything. The only thing I really want to do to the fuselage is different. I've got a little bit of a gap here underneath my triangle stock that I covered over that I forgot was there. I'm going to fill that, not because I have to, just because I want to. And also, in our Fourstar 40 build, our runners, we have the one that goes down the backbone, but the one in the build itself actually stops right here. When I covered this with the Solar Tex, I noticed that it'll sink in right here. I don't like that. So I'm going to add some balsa stringers right here where they're missing. And that's just going to help the end result look better. And the reason why, number one, it's going to look better. Number two, it's going to add a little bit of strength to it, not necessarily structural, but to to assist in the coverall. When we get our coverall put down, and we go to blow it out, it is some very strong material. And if you're not careful, you can turn your airplane into a pretzel. I mean, that's words from the guy that I learned how to do this from. And it's going to be crazy. This airplane's still very smooth. This is going to be a lot of fun, I think. And it's not going to take entirely too long. Like I did one airplane over the summer, which I'm still not done with. I'm waiting on pigment, which we'll get into later. That was back ordered. It was a deeper purple, and this is the color that I'm waiting on. Right here. That's the deeper purple. That's the color I mixed up, and that's dope. That's butyrate. Okay, you can't buy that color. I made it myself. So that's the route we're going to go, and the colors that we're going to use are these right here. We're going to mix our own. Now, Fire.Micas is a sponsor of this build. They sent me some of their powders to mix up and use, and we got the 1848 Gold, the Cool Heat Blue, and the Copper. Okay, the Copper tone. Now, we're going to add some other colors to this as well. Sometimes less is more, but there are some highlights I want to do on the striping, I'm thinking. So we've got titanium silver and some white. I may change some things along the way. I'm not real sure yet. I'm still trying to think of a cool scheme in my head of how I want to do this, but it's going to look really good. But we'll go over mixing when we get closer to the painting. Right now, really all I want to focus on is prepping the fuselage for SIG coverall, getting the fabric onto the fuselage with SIG coverall, and then getting our sealer on. Now, one thing before we get started on this, I want you to keep this in mind. And it's true no matter where you live. It's true especially where I live, because I am on a dirt road, okay? We live in a dusty environment, okay? And this SIG coverall, it is a porous fabric, okay? We do our covering, we get everything laid out, and we let the project set for a month. That is not a good thing, okay? When you get your fabric on, within a day or so, you want to get your sealing done, okay? You're going to mix up a quart of 50-50. It's 50% butyrate, 50% butyrate thinner. And you're going to seal your fabric after you're done laying your fabric, okay? The reason is that sealer will then close up those pores that's in the fabric, and they open up after you shrink it down, okay? Squirt your sealer on there. You can do it by hand, or you can spray it on. It's more cost effective to brush it on, but it looks better if you spray it on. And we'll cover that when we get to that point. So the reason I'm telling you this, you get your fuselage stripped down to this point. You want to come back and within a day, shoot your sealer on it. Okay, that because you're really going to hate it if you don't. You come back and you shoot your clear, then you do your paint job. Your first flight, your butyrate doesn't have anything to hang on to but that dust, which is not a part of your covering, and it's going to come loose. You're going to have things start coming off the airplane, and that's just not going to look too good. You say you shoot it on there. What about the dust? The dust is just not going to be a good thing. You can wipe it down with isopropyl alcohol or whatever, but you're not going to get all of it. I can promise you that. Blow it off, wipe it down. It's still going to give you nightmares. So what we're going to do, I'm going to finish some stuff here. I'm going to get my filler that let me find it first. It is it's drywall filler, spackle, that is used for repairing drywall holes. And it's actually the cheap alternative to using micro balloons. I think micro balloons is like $8 or $10, and I don't see it right away. But it's cheap. It just takes a while to dry. But I'm going to go find that, and then I'm going to fill in these little gaps that is back here on the triangle stock, and I may put some in underneath the elevator. I don't know yet. And then I'm going to add these stringers. So we'll get that far, and we'll move forward. I'm really looking forward to doing this. I'm going to be excited about this. Then our next thing that we're going to do after I get the fuselage in the condition I want it in, we're going to mix our Stix-It. Now you're going to go buy your SIG Stix-It. That's the very next product we're going to need after we get this done. Don't use it right out of the can. The reason why, it's actually a little too strong. It's going to give your iron nightmare. After you brush it on and it dries, you're going to go to iron it down, and that stuff is actually going to go through the fabric and stick to your iron as well. What I was told to do, and it actually works very well, take your Stix-It, find another mixing jar, fill it halfway full with Stix-It and the other half with butyrate thinner. You're going to use some butyrate thinner, so be sure you have that. And what that does, that thins the Stix-It down just enough to where you can put it on, apply it, and it's not really going to go through the fabric as bad. You still need to be careful. After we get to, I apologize, I was wrong, I missed a step. Before we apply the Stix-It, we got to seal our wood. And the reason why, see, on the Fourstar 40 fuselage, there's a lot of flat panel, okay? Not really a whole lot of stringers. If it was all stringers, I wouldn't worry about it so much, but all of our flat panel wood, we have to seal that with 50/50, okay? And I'll shoot that on with my spray gun. Just get it on there, probably 2 coats. Let it dry between shooting, okay? You want that stuff to grab a hold really good. Shoot a coat, let it dry, come back with a little bit of steel wool, kind of rough it up a little bit, wipe it down, clean it up, shoot another coat on, and your second coat will be a little bit heavier. Okay, and the reason you do that is when we layer fabric and we go to shoot our clear or our sealer coat and our paint and then our clear, that paint will actually go through the fabric. It will. It's going to happen. It'll go through the fabric and hit the wood and then soak into the wood. That wood will soak all that stuff in, and it's never really going to attach to your fabric that well. So we'll seal our wood before we do anything as far as the covering, and then we'll do apply our sticks it, and then we'll get into laying some fabric, all right? Hey, thank you guys for tuning in on this one. We'll probably launch another one tomorrow after I get this the cracks filled up, and I'll show you what I did. I got chastised because my videos were just way too long. I apologize. I do this for the education element of it, not necessarily for the professionalism of it. I'm just me. We got a new little area out here outside of the house to where it's not going to cause any problems in the house if I decide to fire up a Dumor or a Dremel tool at 6 in the morning. Got yelled at a couple times for that. But hey, we'll launch another video here before too long, probably the next day or so, and we will actually start our work with our sealing and then applying the sticks. Thank you guys for watching.